We woke up this morning to a video text message from our son where the RV is parked saying that the RV was flooded. We didn't get the text until we woke up this morning. The video wasn't very good. It was also dark out, but you could see that there was a lot of water.
All right, I just noticed, I heard the noise, but your RV is flooding, bro. I shut the water off, but it's all the way down. I just shut it off, but, I mean, we're completely flooded, dude. Oh, really? Something broke in here, dude. It's completely full of water. It's even leaking on the other side of your trailer, bro. Yeah, it's even wet in here, bro. Oh my gosh. The whole underside of your trailer. The hose broke or something, dude.
I was just waiting until our daughter woke up and it was light out because there's nothing to see. I don't know how bad it is. I'm really hoping that whatever burst is easy to find, but also that it's only affecting the outside storage of the RV and not the inside of the RV. This is like an RV nightmare to wake up to. I don't know how long that the water had been leaking. So we're gonna drive up and see what we find. Okay, let's figure out what's happening here. So you can see that it was wet. That actually doesn't look wet. Okay, this is not wet. This is not wet. I'm gonna look at the other side. I'm trying to see. Yeah, that's got a little dampness there. Okay, this is wet. This is wet. But this is where there's water lines. This is under the slide. That's wet. That's wet. That's wet. Okay, none of this is wet. So there's moisture on the windows. All of these on this side, and the RV hasn't been leveled. So it makes sense that there'd be more on this side. Back is not wet. This is not wet. This is wet. Let's get that out. And that is not wet. Let's go inside, and I'm so nervous about this. Okay, nothing's wet. The heat is off though. Okay, the furnace is on. Low. When the propane line got hooked back up, they did not turn the furnace back on. There's nothing wet inside. Hi, Taven. Good morning. I was so afraid. Okay, there's nothing wet in here. Why is this unhooked? I'm not sure. There's no moisture. Okay, there's no moisture underneath the sink. Something happened with the faucet, I don't know. I don't have any idea. Oh, this is wet. So there's water here. This is full of water, so I need to figure out how to get that out. All right, well, this is a source of water. There's water on the sink. There's water underneath. The floor, though, is actually not wet. There's a piece of paper and a piece of toilet paper on the floor a couple feet away, and they're not wet. It looks like something in here obviously was leaking. Nothing's wet in the floor. And also, obviously, something happened here. There's very little water damage inside, which is a relief. I have no idea what happened here, how it happened. These threads actually screw on, and it's like it exploded off. There's not really like a couple drops of water, but there's not really water there. The hot water heater is inside here. So not only is the hot water heater totally dry, it's dusty, and I can see straight back into underneath the sink. Between that view and the front of the sink, there's no water underneath the kitchen sink. It seems odd to me that the faucet just looks severed. The countertop was wet. Because this is not level, it's actually leaning towards me, and the floor was okay. This I put in here. It is covered with water. The drawers are absolutely full of water. You can see the paint overspray here from when the RV renovation got done, and nothing in there is wet. The leak came from obviously something underneath here, so that burst. I think most of it though is where the water connects to the RV. So the door to the RV, it's closer to the front of the RV than the back, but let's just say this is about the middle. So the furnace looks fine, the water heater looks fine. I opened up both exterior doors. This is wet in here, and this is not. And on the opposite side of that, this one right here is not. So this is where the refrigerator is, right across from the sink. However, under the sink is dry. This is where I think the problem came from predominantly. We have the water hookup in this. About like right here is where that other bin is on the opposite side, the only one that's wet on the opposite side. This is wet, and these three are wet inside. I'm guessing that this is where things originated. Also, there's condensation on these two windows. There's a little bit of condensation here. However, nothing inside is wet anywhere in the RV. After we had the RV maintenance company come and find the propane leak, the propane company came back and hooked up the 120-gallon tank. When he came to do that, he told me that he had to turn off the furnace and check all the lines and then turn it back on. And I said, great. Do you need me to be there? And he said, no, it's super easy. And I said, you have my permission to access the RV. So he went in. There are two switches. Right here is the main furnace switch. Turning that on allows us to use the furnace and the water heater. When I walked in, I knew the water heater was on, so I knew that that had been turned back on. The other thing we have is the actual thermostat. This was not on. So when he came to hook up the propane, he turned the main furnace switch on, but he didn't turn this back on. That meant, because temperatures are below freezing, that something froze. When I left to drive here this morning, it was 35 degrees. The next step is to call the propane company, let them know the furnace was not turned back on, and we had a pipe burst last night. It broke our kitchen faucet. There are some issues under the bathroom sink, and for sure there's something else that's broken. Everything in the underside of the RV was flooded. I pulled out that cabinet that was full of water, and I pulled off the bottom of the sink cabinet. I also pulled the drawers out and turned them over, and they actually were wet. So I'm letting all of that dry. The good news is that this was pretty localized, where this wood is wet, but there's nothing underneath that looks like it's gotten wet at all. which is awesome. We do have two issues inside the RV. Really, fortunately, it's very localized. After assessing the RV and coming back home, I have called the propane company. They recommended that we call our insurance company to actually file the claim with them, that the insurance company should be able to have somebody come out to fix it or allow us to call somebody to come out to fix it. It will be billed to the propane company through the claim. It's Black Friday today, the day after Thanksgiving. So this leak happened Thanksgiving Day. I can't call our insurance company until Monday. For now, I can't do anything. However, I know I am either filing the claim through our insurance company or filing the claim directly through the propane company. The RV maintenance company will need to come and go through every single water line to make sure that we get anything that's leaking at all and that gets repaired and replaced. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this will happen soon. We were waiting until after Thanksgiving to text our property management company so that we could give our 30-day notice and be out by the end of the year and in the RV. And I tell you, every single time we feel like we are ready to do that, something else happens where we can't. So at this point, we just want to make sure that this is going to get fixed quickly and relatively easily, and the claim will happen without any problem, and it will get paid for so that we can move into our RV full time. We want to be there so that we can decorate and celebrate for Christmas. Thank you so much for following along on this incredible adventure and journey. It's been a learning experience. It's been a lot of fun. It's also been pretty stressful. And we just keep forging forward every time something comes up. Like this video, subscribe, and please comment and ask questions and let me know all the things that I'm doing wrong. Have an amazing day.